something. Yeah. Scroll in the tube, found a star in the chaos. Duty spitting facts like a modern day seance. Trending waves, politics in the spotlight. Raw with the wit, hits you sharp like a frostbite. Come on y'all, let's discuss her anthem, her creed. Breaking down the drama, uncovering the greed. Laugh through the truth, it's enlightenment with flair. 2D talk sense, ain't no nonsense over there. Come on, we tuned in to
Hey y'all, hey, happy Sunday. Make sure y'all can hear and see me. Trying to see if I'm on the string. Okay, yes, I am there. Happy Sunday. First of all, let me start off by saying happy heavenly birthday to my mother. Let's see. We got together, me and my sisters and my cousins. We got together last night and we went bowling and all to, celebrate the life that we had with her. And if she was here, of course, we would have been celebrating. So it was more of a happy time, wasn't sad. We all had fun and we all ate it. But sorry, I hope y'all don't hear no echo. Yeah. What y'all got going on this Sunday? Because obviously I'm a heathen and ain't in church. Baby, over the weekend, I think it was Friday night, because I meant to go on here Friday, but I was tired. So when I came home for work, baby, I was tired. I get all these, like I'm strolling through social media, and all this Donica Lewinsky stuff started popping up. This Donica Lewinsky stuff started popping up. I said, what is going on? Child. The Epstein estate then released emails that said that between Jeffrey and his brother. And they said, does Putin has the video of Trump giving a BJ to Bubba. Yeah, I know Bill Clinton nickname is Bubba, so people are saying it's Bill Clinton. The memes went wild, y'all. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about I'm trying to remember everything because it's not, for some reason, this new program is not switching over what I put in there in the description. So I'm probably gonna have to update it later. But okay, I know we're gonna talk about that and see if I got a pen so I can write it down. So I can remember y'all, because when we get to the end, y'all gonna be like, wait, you said we was gonna talk about this and you never talked about it. So we're gonna talk about the Lewinsky all of it all. And we're gonna talk about Megyn Kelly. Lewinsky. Megyn Kelly and her trying to defend these doggone these underage girls in the Epstein and her trying to pretty much make excuses for it. Like, well, 15 ain't like it's 8. So I'm going to show y'all that clip. We're going to also talk about, we'll talk about the Charlemagne the God versus Roland Martin. And I'm going to show y'all the back and forth that went on between them. Now, that is old news that happened last week, maybe. I think maybe the beginning of the week before that carried on into this week. So we're going to also talk about that, y'all. I had other stuff, but now I can't remember. But we're gonna hit them 3, so we won't be here too long. Now, let's start it off with these emails. See, the Monica Lewinsky, the Donica Lewinsky email, that came out Friday. But before that, there was 3 emails that the Epstein estate released. Now, what's going on? Let me first try to explain it. As I have said to the new subscribers coming on, the people who haven't watched this channel before, I am not a political analyst. I am not a historian. We talk about the trending topics. And we go, I give my opinion, you can give me yours, and we just have a regular conversation about it, okay? Now, I try to the things that I talk about, I try to give y'all the site sources. Do a little research before I get up on here, okay? So I could be a little informed about what I'm talking about. So we can, and sometimes my audience informs me about things I didn't know. So feel free to jump on in the conversation and we can have a good, respectful conversation, okay? Because I ain't that safe. I would cuss y'all ass out. I'm just kidding. So let's go over these first 3 emails that was released before the Donica Lewinsky email. Let me see. Let me see if y'all can see it on the screen. I want to make this one bigger. Give me a minute. I'm trying to switch it up so the other one could be the big one and not me. That's what I want to do. Okay. Well, y'all don't have to see me on there. Now that they went away. I really want to make this email bigger. Okay. Y'all just going to hear me. Apparently, y'all not going to see me because I can't get that switched up right. So let's go through these first 3 emails that was released before the Donica Lewinsky email came out. So this is from Ghislaine Maxwell. That's to Jeffrey. What date is this? This is 2011. And she said, I have been thinking about that. Now that's how it starts. Now, I don't have the part before that. I don't know if the estate even released the part before that. So Jeffrey then responds, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Now the victim name was redacted. That's why it just says victim. They are saying, I want to say the DOJ is saying the victim is the one who committed, who unalived herself, who just got the book out, who was one of the first victims. I think she was the first victims to come out in this Epstein file. And they are saying that it's her. And they're saying that she have been on record, have previously said that she have never seen Trump do anything inappropriate with underage girls. Now, y'all got to keep this in mind because my viewing of it, sometimes it's not what people say, is what they don't say. Because she didn't say, I have never seen Trump do anything appropriate with the women there. I have never seen Trump be involved in the sex trafficking because there was a lot of focus is on the underage part of it, which is, of course, a big deal. But you have to remember there was also just sex trafficking that was going on. Now, watch my video about Milani and what Jasmine Crockett said, and I'm gonna leave that there. But it was also just as trafficking going on. So this was girls who was of age. They were young women, maybe 19, 20, 21. So they were of age, but they was also getting as trafficked. So unfortunately, the victim is not here anymore because she said there was just so much once she came out with his supporters, with people in her family. I want to say her husband was also abusive. Don't take that as facts, okay? If I'm not mistaken, her husband was also abusive. But what she said was she never seen Trump do anything with underage victims. That doesn't mean that he didn't do anything. That's just my opinion. But in this email, he is saying that Trump spent hours with her in the house. This is what Epstein is saying. And he's like, they never mentioned him. And that I'm 75% there. People are wondering, like, is he saying he was 75% there or going and, now coming public to say that Trump was there and what Trump did? Because you got to remember that initially Trump was saying that him and Epstein like fell out years before this. He knew nothing about these girls. He wasn't involved. He wasn't there. My name been in it, ain't in it. That's how Trump was. Now, recently, he have changed his story to say, um, we fell out because he was taking his workers from Mar-a-Lago and taking them over to the Epstein Island. So they fell out about that. Which would assume if he's taking the people from you, then yeah, you can. Some people are concluding that means, hey, you knew what was going on. And then I want to say, let's read the next email, because if I'm not mistaken, the email came out where he said that Trump told Ghislaine that you can't be over here doing that shit, like taking my workers because of what y'all got going on over there. So okay. That's the first email. It was only 3 emails that was released. So this is from Jeffrey to Mike Wolf. Now, Mike Wolf is the author who came out with the book because he was in the Trump administration for closely in his first administration. He also spent years with Epstein recording him and things of that nature. He's the ones that Melania threatened to sue. I meant to do a video about this and I forgot. So Melania threatened to sue him because he said that Epstein introduced Melania. Am I saying that lady name right? I don't know. But that Epstein introduced her to Trump. So she's threatening to sue him for about like $1 billion because she said that's not true and it's defamation. How's it defamation if that's your husband? It could be wrong information, but what's defamatory? I guess because Jeff Epstein, I don't know, y'all, but that's how she's threatening to sue him. So then he went and he said, I'm not doing this with y'all. He went and he said he was filing a lawsuit against her. That way they could subpoena everybody who was around during that time and force them to recount the stories of what happened. So then you will get more information related to Epstein, that island, what was going on during that time. So that's what he did. I haven't seen it, but he did do an interview that's what he said he was doing. I haven't seen news articles or anything about it. But now it's kind of hard to try to rely on legacy media since Trump done sued everybody and seemed like the news is scared, because this Donna Lewinsky story, I haven't seen it on legacy media yet. Y'all could drop down in the comments, let me know if y'all seen it, but I have not seen it on legacy media. Now let's continue with the email. Okay, so this is the from Jeffrey to Michael Wolff. So victim at Mar-a-Lago, then they redacted some stuff. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. See, this is the email where, of course, just told y'all what Trump said. I didn't know initially. Then he said, I didn't know. Me and him didn't fall out about that. We fell out about real estate. Then he said, nah, we fell out because he was coming and getting my workers and pretty much stealing my workers. In this email, Jeffstein is, Jeffstein, Epstein is alleging that Trump knew. Trump knew what was going on. And he said he couldn't have fired him because I never worked for you. But he knew what was going on because Trump had asked Ghislaine to stop. So of course he knew. And what is this third email? So this is from Michael to Jeffrey. Now y'all, if I don't know if y'all know Don Lemon, he was on used to be CNN. He got fired. He got his own YouTube, and he's he go live. I want to say twice a day. Don Lemon is the YouTube channel, and I think it's Don Lemon Live or Don Lemon Nation. But if y'all type up Don Lemon, y'all see it. He just did an interview with Michael Wolff, and Michael Wolff was going off like they pretty much went on a back and forth about this, because I guess I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna tell y'all that Michael Wolff is getting blowback from the community because of this email, from online social media, everybody, because of this email. So let me read this email. I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it's really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a writing deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. If you were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in serum afterwards. So he's getting blowback because people are like, you're giving advice to a child, like you're trying to help him out and you're giving him advice on, how to get blackmail or how to get out the situation. Michael Wolf stance is pretty much like if y'all ever watch like First 48, y'all watch confessions and things like that, especially with the serial unalivers. A lot of the times the police will go in there and act like what the person is saying is not very disturbing. They'll try to befriend them, build the rapport so they can feel comfortable with giving them all the information and everything that they did so they won't have it. Because if somebody who you feel like is judging you, you're in the room with, you're not going to say as much as you feel like somebody who's understanding. So that's Michael Wolf's point of view. And he's like, journalists know this. So for a journalist to come out here and make him out to be the bad person for this relationship that he built with Jeffrey, or this email where he's giving him advice that is disingenuous. So him and Don, I guess him and Don had already have a long-term relationship. And sad note, Michael Wolf got recordings of Jeffrey Epstein, because he said he'd been trying to get this stuff out for years, and the media refused to touch it. He went to big name like podcasters, blah blah blah. Everybody refused to touch it. So then he did release, and I have listened to it. I think it was a year ago. Yeah, because it was right before the elections when I was like, he should have been dropped this. But he did release recording of Epstein right before the election, the end of last year. So that's just a sad. But on his interview with Don Lemon, him and Don Lemon go back and forth. It's because he was very defensive. That old man was sick of people shit. You okay? And you could tell. But let me get this off the stream. Let me get this off the stream. Go back. Make sure y'all can see me. Okay. Okay. So him and Don Lemon is interviewing him, and Don Lemon, I want to say the question that set him off was, would he do anything different? And he was, I think he went off before that about another question, but I can't remember the question. But he also went off on Don Lemon about would you do anything different? Oh, that's what it was about. He went off initially with Don Lemon asking him if he would testify at the Senate. At a Senate hearing where he testified. And he went off on Don Lemon saying that's disingenuous because as a journalist, you should never testify at any hearing. You're supposed to protect your sources. So I would never do that. It's not because I got something to hide. I didn't put all this information out. I didn't put out recordings. I did all this. So for you to ask me that question, then baby, they go when I tell you go watch the video, they go back and forth because he tell Don Lemon before I even got up on here. And he told Don Lemon, you doing to me what somebody did to Don Lemon back with blah, blah, blah. He said, because before I even got on here, I told you that this is what I want to talk about. This was what Don was like, wait a minute. I told you that I will be asking you questions. That's journalism. It was a whole back and forth, but he told Don Lemon, no, you're a journalist. You should know better. You shouldn't go testify at no Senate hearing either if somebody asks you to go testify, because that would take away from my journalistic integrity. Baby, it went down. And then it went down again when Don tried to move past it because he see the man getting upset. And, and he's like, okay, well, just would you do anything differently? So the guy was like, what you mean? Wait, you tell me what I should do differently. This old white man was in it. You hear me? He's done. You tell me. Because you asking that question would imply you think that I should do something differently. I said, I didn't say that. I never even thought about it. I can't tell you. You tell me what I should do differently. Like, I can't tell you what you should do differently. So I don't know. I'm just trying to ask you a question. Like, would you do anything differently? So I end up saying the only thing I would, if you're asking me, if I was in that situation, would I do differently? I probably wouldn't give Jeffrey Epstein advice about the Trump situation. So yeah. But those was the first three emails. Let me see. I should have put it up while I was talking because y'all know I be talking. Let me see if I can pull up I want to pull up the Monica Lewinsky because, like I said, there no legacy media has it. So I'm gonna have to go to YouTube to pull it up because that's our the only people. Oh wait, y'all! Live for CNN, Epstein files audio release. Let's see. Remind me to come back to this Monica Lewinsky because I'm trying to see. Wait, let me try to show y'all. Show y'all. I'm trying to go back, see how much of it we missed.
Signing with the White House, as he says, are all a fake.
I mean, anybody can do a signature. We've seen the auto pen's been used quite a bit with the Biden administration. So I've never known Trump to be much of an artist either. So I kind of draw that into
I
question.
think there's a history of him
But
drawing
the thing
stuff.
is, it's been there for 4 years, and now it's just come out. I just don't buy
So
it.
you think really someone might have just forged this somehow and sent
Yeah,
this
I
to the
mean,
Epstein?
somehow it's so easy to do. I just don't buy any of it right now because we have a prior administration that's had a history of dishonesty, and they bring something like this out now. Why wouldn't they bring it out during the campaign?
Now that audio was leaked. It says audio leaked. It's live, so we'll have to come back and it won't allow me to reverse back to see what audio was leaked. So we'll have to come back to that. So I'm gonna show y'all this. This is this YouTuber who I believe he has the email, but I'm gonna try to share the screen so y'all can see this Donica Lewinsky stuff that they talking about. Now this is where everybody is a legend. Yes, Bill Clinton's nickname is Bubba, but I also know people who nickname is Bubba. That's a common nickname in the South. So, and you know, Bill Clinton was tied to Epstein. We know he have been on the island. So that's why people is a legend. And of course, what happened with Monica Lewinsky and Bill? I said one thing for certain, two things for sure. Bill gonna get him some head. Yeah, that's why it's they are a legend that this is Bill. And I don't know why this thing keep okay. Okay, but let me go. Let me continue. Let me play. That's what I was gonna say. Donald Trump was a Democrat initially. And y'all, okay, we're gonna talk about this later. But what Donald Trump history is reminding me of is what Stephen A. Smith is doing right now. Where Donald Trump was a Democrat and he used to talk about how stupid the Republicans is. And of course the famous quote is that if he ever run for president, he'll run as a Republican because they're so stupid they'll believe anything that he says. That video is out there, it's been everywhere. I'm not making that up. Now, so he was initially a Democrat. He ran as a Republican, and he started to do the Republican talking points. He won. This is where we are. He won twice. Now, to me, Stephen A. Smith, he said he's a Democrat. But have you been watching him lately and everything that he said lately? It seems very anti-Democrat. So he said, "Oh well, no, this is just as my feelings, and this is what I believe." But besides the stuff that he's saying about black women, that he said about Jasmine Crockett, that he said about Michelle Obama, that he said about AOC, that I recently seen something about. He said a vulgar comment about Don Stanley. But now I just seen this morning that because Jasmine Crockett, he was telling her to she need to pretty much bend the knee to Donald Trump to get stuff done for your district instead of over here talking all streets. And so that's what he said about Jasmine Crockett. I recently seen today Roland Martin was talking about the disinformation that he gave about now I can't even remember. But I know he was saying that, oh, this is the Democrats. I just watched it. I literally just watched it this morning. Let's see. I'm gonna see. Y'all gonna see me put it up. Roland A. Steven. That was with the Jackson Crockett. He just did something this morning. Oh, it was about the Epstein's file. That's what it was about. Because Stephen A is saying that, oh, well, he go through this whole spiel about how horrible Epstein is anything with underage kids is horrible, blah, 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 blah. For him to come and say, well, Republicans have a point about why Democrats didn't release it then. Why they didn't release it before. And I'm like, what's the point of this whole spiel? It doesn't matter if everything you just said about what's how horrible Epstein is. Why does it matter who releasing it? As long as it is released. But Roland Martin ended up coming out and debunking what he was saying, that it wasn't that the Democrats was holding it. Ghislaine Maxwell was still in court when Biden was the president. And then once she got convicted, she also went through appeal. So it wasn't just as easy for them to release the file because it was an active case. This made me think about once this Trump is now calling for the DOJ to investigate Bill Clinton. And I said, do you think that this is a strategy that he's using in order to keep the files from being released? Because mind you, during the government shutdown, and we didn't even talk about that the Democrats, this going to be quick. Some Democrats folded, 8 of them folded, and and to me, you weren't folding because people was hungry because of this food stamps. You were folding because of those airlines. But anyway, they folded. 8 of them folded. The Republicans got their bill passed. The budget that they wanted passed. They got it passed. So the government should be opening back up. But now I done lost my train of thought because I go back. But that Stephen A. Smith was saying that when he said what about the Democrats, but Roland Martin was like, oh, Ghislaine Maxwell was in court during that time. Then she went through appeal process, so the files couldn't be released because of old case. This is what I was saying. That Trump is now calling for investigation of Bill Clinton. I said, do you think this is strategy? Because if DOJ opened an investigation on Bill Clinton, now all these Epstein files are going to be involved in an active case. And they're not going to be able to be released because it's going to be an active case. That's what I was saying. And then there was the shutdown, but there was also a Democratic representative that was elected. That was the last final vote that they needed to release the Epstein file. They would have enough numbers. So Mike Johnson, who's the Republican leader who brings the bills to the floor, refused to swear her in for weeks because it's been alleged because he didn't want her to give that final vote to release all the Epstein's file. He finally, after the Democrats cave, he finally swore her in. So now everybody's like, oh, they have that final vote that they need to release the Epstein file. But Donald Trump is now calling for the investigation of Bill Clinton. And whatever Donald Trump asks that DOJ to do, they're going to do it. And if not, they're going to get fired, and somebody who's going to do it going to be brought in. So I said, do y'all think this is strategic? Drop down in the comments and let me know. I haven't even had my comments open. Do y'all think it is strategic that he's calling for investigations that tied to these Epstein's files? So then the files won't be able to be released because it'll be into an active investigation. Now, also what's going on, what Roland Martin corrected Stephen Smith on, is that these emails that are being released by the Epstein estate. And that's only because the committee that was created, the Senate committee that was created, are forcing them to release it, sending subpoenas and everything, are forcing them. These are not the files these emails are not the files that the DOJ has that they're trying to get released. This is something completely separate. So if an investigation is open against Bill Clinton or whoever Trump want to open an investigation against, then he will have, y'all drop in the comments, any lawyers, anything watching, let me know. Then he would now have the ability to stop the Epstein files from being released because now it's involved in an active case. And I want to know if he can subpoena now the Epstein estate for all these emails. They said, now, can he now subpoena them for those emails to say those emails are related to this case with Bill Clinton? And then he's going to that would now stop the flow of all information, all the emails and everything from coming out. So that's something that I wonder. I don't know, but I feel like that's what he's linking towards. But we'll see in the future, y'all. Okay, so what did I say? That's the Monica Lewinsky. I showed y'all that the Monica Lewinsky. I'm gonna see if I can find the I'm gonna show y'all some of these memes. Of course, let's see. Of course, since that happened, everybody been talking about the Donald Trump mimicking the BJ during the campaign, during his last campaign, when he was over there talking about when he was over there talking about the mic was wrong, and he was doing this on the mic, so everybody was like like he did it because them hand movements, he did the salt and pepper. that ain't what people said. That's my ignorant ass over here saying. But let me show y'all this one. Hopefully, let me make sure, because every time I do this, I forget you have to add it to the scene. Nope, not that one. Let me show y'all him mimicking the BJ on the microphone. Let me try to silence that. Yeah. Let me show y'all again. Throat God. Listen, he throat God. I didn't say it. Okay, I said it, but you know, yeah, he is the throat God. Okay. Uh, so we didn't went through that. While we on the thing, let's talk about Megan Kelly and her making this excuse for pretty much Epstein. And she said the summary of it, I'm gonna show you the video, but the summary of it is that she was like, well, it wasn't like the girls was 8 or 9. My understanding of like what Epstein, he liked younger girls. That's like 15. But it's not like they were 8 or 9. I'm like, if this it's right here.
Shut your stupid ass up.
That's how I felt when I watched it. I mean, let me show y'all this doggone video of her. Just check her dating record. 'Cause this heifer feel like people like this. I wonder what she said about R. Kelly. Did you give him that same excuse? Was it all right when it came to R. Kelly? But okay, let me show y'all this video because I was like the ridiculousness. Can't even get it out. My throat getting dry. Talking about Donald Trump being a throat goat. Let's see. Make sure y'all can see it. This extra step with this new program. I didn't with the old program I was using. Once you click share, it's shared. This one is an extra step. You have to share, then add it to the scene. And the last time when we was just watching that live, and y'all just see me like looking down. I'm looking at the news report, and I'm thinking y'all can see it. So my apologies, y'all. I am getting better.
But that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked, this is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10, I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. Yeah. You know, it's just whatever. It's sick. Every time we start talking about Epstein, it makes your skin crawl. Right? The whole thing is just disgusting.
Totally.
What in the hell? You got to be under 10 to be preyed upon
Shut
by
your
a grown
stupid
man?
ass
That's not the definition at all.
You know, at best,
Get your
it was
punk
just a
ass up.
completely stupid, ignorant thing to say.
So how you gonna say that it's disgusting, but then gonna say, but there's a difference between a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old? Of course, it's 10 years difference, but the underage is still underage. Megan, look, okay. I said, then I know there was. I'm gonna look it up while before I said. I think it was a Republican who tried to lower the age of consent to 14. What? Oh, they were trying to say, okay, let me see. I want to see. They don't give proof of that. A user submitted a comment receiving, however, mentioned that the alleged reasoning concern New Hampshire claimed Missouri, New Hampshire, West Virginia, and Wyoming all recently wrote laws that allow children to get married. But I don't see any facts behind that. I don't see any paperwork, any laws that were submitted for that. So this is where the Republicans made a case. This is in 2023. Republicans make a case for child marriage. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen. This is Newsweek. And this is in 2023. Days before the close of the 2023, members of West Virginia House of Delegates voted to act. This string gonna come right up. Voted to enact a bill banning child marriage in the state, but it wasn't unanimous. When the bill moved to the Senate, just over 1 dozen of the House members voted against that. Child marriage has long been taboo in the United States, but it's still legal in at least a dozen states across the country. While more recent figures are unavailable, the Pew Research Center said West Virginia has the nation's highest rate of child marriages in 2014, with 5-year average of 7.1 marriage for every 1,000 children between 15 and 17 years old. And most working to state health statistic from 2015 to 2019, 259 girls and 52 boys was under 18. Under 18 were married in West Virginia. Some had been married more than once. By the time of 18, they were already married more than once. And this is in West Virginia. Legislators defend allowing minors to marry for a myriad of reasons, including concerns expressed on the House floor that teens who want to get married will seek a remedy out of state, and that limit on marriages with a parent consent will be arbitrary and taking something away. The only thing it's going to do is cause harm and trouble in young people's lives. Harris County Delegate Keith Marble, a Republican, and the lone person to speak against the bill to ban child marriage, just said on the House floor. So that's what I'm assuming that's where all this started from, because there are still states that allow child marriages as early as 15. And when they tried to take it off when they tried to ban child marriages in this state, that you had 12 Republicans who voted against it. So that's where that rumor came from. Now, let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. Okay, so we went through the Lewinsky, we went through Megyn Kelly, and we're supposed to go through the Roland Martin versus Charlamagne. Now, Charlamagne had gave Roland Martin donkey of the day, right? Because Roland Martin had corrected him on this was during the government shutdown. I'm a donkey of the day. I'm gonna try to show y'all. When I seen this donkey of the day, when he gave Roland donkey of the day, I always say, I said that earlier, that sometimes it's what people does not say. I had already watched, when I watched the clip that Roland Martin ended up responding to, the reason why Charlamagne gave him donkey of the day, I was like, what the fuck is Charlamagne doing? Because even I knew what he was saying wasn't right. But let me find this donkey of the day. These doggone commercials. I want to find the beginning. I want to find the clip that Roland Martin responds to. And these commercials are everywhere. But I'm gonna see if I can find the clip that started it all. Because first he had gave misinformation. There was somebody up there where he was trying to tell them
Donkey of the day today.
Well, just hilarious. Donkey of the day for Monday, November 10th goes to Roland S. Martin. Y'all know Roland Martin, left-wing political commentator, founder of the Black Star Network. He hosts his show, Roland Martin Unfiltered, on YouTube. Oh, and let's not forget, he is a Democrat dancing machine. Oh, Roland will cut a rug for the Democrats, you hear me? Okay, he loves dancing for Democrats so much that he won't even go to the right when the Tootsie Roll is playing. Okay, it's all to the left for Roland, and that's fine. Okay, respecting him and his political allegiance with Democrats. So it wasn't a surprise to me that Roland had an opinion on my opinion of this current government shutdown, because I feel like Democrats, even though they put up a great fight, it was a valiant effort in regards to healthcare. It was a fight they couldn't win right now. Okay, keyword right now. So open the government back up because people are out here suffering. Roland didn't like that. Okay, he posted this video with the headline, "Beyond Idiotic, Roland tears down Charlemagne's shutdown misinformation." That's the word that got my attention, misinformation. What did I say I was misinformation? Well, let's listen to Roland Martin.
Do me a favor. Do not listen to people like Charlemagne the God, okay? So Charlemagne was talking about this government shutdown, and he made a comment as related to what Democrats should be doing. Y'all have that?
You know what I don't understand, Mimi, and I don't know, maybe you can explain it to me. The healthcare is going to go up anyway because of the big, beautiful bill, because that didn't include the extension of the tax credits to keep the cost down. So if it's going up anyway, what's the point of Democrats taking the stand to keep the government still closed?
At this point, you're right, because the premiums, which the open enrollment started this weekend, November 1st, and so people are getting those letters in the mail. In fact, one person in Utah, a woman in Utah, she told ABC News that she opened her bill and saw that her monthly premium had already jumped from about $400 a month, Charlemagne, to over $2,000 a month. And so at this point, it's like, what's going to happen? Is it retroactive? Like, how is this going to work as we continue to go forward? So you're absolutely right.
And the premiums are set for a year. So at this point, if the premiums have already gone up, if they set for a year, at least give the people some relief and get the government back open. Man.
Do not listen to what the hell he just said. That to me is beyond idiotic, because this battle that we're seeing is not solely about healthcare. Rebecca, I don't know what the hell that was. That was just bull.
Roland, what makes what I said BS? I said the healthcare is going to go up anyway because of the big, beautiful bill, because that didn't include the extension of the tax credits to keep the cost down. That's fact-based. Okay, Mimi pointed out that some people were already receiving higher premiums since the beginning of the open enrollment period. People have been receiving notices of higher premiums. So where was the misinformation? Roland, you may not agree that Dems should concede and vote for the.
And you see what I said, what he doesn't say. What Roland what he said was, it's misinformation because the notices that people are receiving are for prices that takes effect on January 1st. That's the misinformation. He said the premiums last a year. Yes, they last a year starting January 1st. So the Democrats was trying to fight to get those. It was from October until November. They've been trying to fight to change before January 1st to get those subsidies back into the health system. So then a new estimate could go out and those prices will kick in and take place by January 1st. It's not January 1st yet. That's the misinformation he's getting. He's telling people, oh, those notices you receive, that can't change. You already received the notice. Those prices going to be effective for a whole year. No, those are just notices of prices, the change that's coming up. They can change. But once January 1st happens, they won't be able to. That's why the Democrats went into this shutdown and decided to fight, because the prices do last for a year, but we could change it before that happens. But let's continue.
Government to be reopened, but don't say it's misinformation. Okay, maybe I gave too short an explanation. Maybe I oversimplified it. Maybe I should be clearer for the audience, and I will right now. When the big, beautiful bill, or as Reverend Barber called it, the big, deadly bill, or as Jasmine Crockett called it, the big, ugly bill, when that bipartisan spending package Republicans forced through, when that was passed, Democrats failed to extend the ACA premium subsidies that were originally expanded under the American Rescue Plan and Inflation Reduction Act. Okay, without those tax credits, ACA or Obamacare premium.
And then again, that's misinformation. He said the Democrats didn't extend it. It wasn't the Democrats. What I realized, and it's going to be in Roland Martin's response, and like I said, I'm not a political analyst. I don't know all this stuff. I go and research when I see trending topics and try to come and talk to y'all with it about. Different bills are passed under different circumstances. The big, beautiful bill, it wasn't passed. It was passed with the majority. What they needed for this to pass this budget, to get the money, to get the government funded, they need a 2/3 vote for that. The big, beautiful bill was passed without Democrats. The Republicans have the majority in both houses. They have the majority in both departments of the government. They have the majority. So what happened is they passed the big, beautiful bill under the majority. This budget, to fund the government, it can't be passed that way. It has to have the 2/3. So when he says the Democrats failed to, no, it had nothing to do with the Democrats. That was a bill that the Republican passed with the majority of Republican votes, and there was nothing the Democrats could do about it. So the Democrats failed to do nothing. And that's what he is saying, that Roland Martin is saying, you are steady giving misinformation. So, and Charlamagne is another one who claimed to be a Democrat, but the things, and especially when it's misinformation, because I'm a Democrat and I disagree, especially that punk ass 8 who just and that 8 who just pretty much folded, our 8 who's not up for re-election, the one that's here from Illinois, he ain't even running the next term. So he'll get, but let's continue.
Premiums increase automatically, and they're already locked in for 2025 since insurers file and finalize their rates months ahead. So if healthcare premiums have already gone up and are fixed for the year, then keeping the government closed to fight for lower premiums makes no sense to me, especially when on top of high healthcare prices, so many people are suffering right now because of the government shutdown. And that's what I care about, the people. Okay, that's why I said what I said, because of the people who are being hurt by this. Federal workers who haven't been paid in 40 days, they pass due on rent right now. Can't pay for child care right now. Hell, they can't pay for the health insurance they do have because they don't have any money coming in. Not to mention people not getting SNAP benefits. So how is what I said some BS? How was that misinformation? Once again, Roland, if you would have said I disagree with Charlamagne, Democrats should fight and not vote to reopen the government until some concessions are made on healthcare, cool, I would understand that. It's fair. But to say it's some BS and label it as misinformation, that's just a lie. And you did that on purpose. That was intentional to discredit me in the Breakfast Club, but we'll get back to that. He even had a sister by the name of Rebecca Carruthers.
And then, like he's saying that they did that on purpose. Yeah, it was a lie. It wasn't. I just explained everything to you. But now you're pretty much flipping it. He said it ain't always what people say. Sometimes it's what they don't say. Let's continue.
Come in and double down on the lie that we spread misinformation and accuse me of all types of treachery. Let's listen.
Hi guys! Okay, as you guys know, I've been very vocal about it. I've been on a GLP-1 for the past couple years now, which is crazy. And you guys know how much it's changed my life. It's changed.
Look, what I heard was an exchange of two people who don't understand how this works. So what they're talking about are the health insurance premiums that are in the marketplace. The marketplaces are the state exchanges. The state exchanges is because of Obamacare, aka the Affordable Care Act. Here's the thing. Those premiums are effective January 1, 2026. You get about 60 days notice in most states. Some states put out their new expected premiums back in October, some kind of at the end of September. But this is giving notice of, hey, if you continue at the level of health insurance plan that you have, this is what you're going to start to pay effective January 1. And so the erroneous, I mean, this isn't just misinformation here. This starts to look like this is intentional disinformation. And for the audience, disinformation is where you have bad, misleading information that's intentionally targeted to a certain demographic. The demographic here is Black voters. The reason why is that Black voters are the base of the Democratic Party. Right now, Democrats are in lockstep saying that, no, we're not going to give you the votes that you need in order to end this government shutdown. You Republicans need to come to us and work out a deal. And so by trying to talk to Black folks, so then Black folks can then talk to Democratic members of the House and Democratic members of the Senate to get Democrats to back down. That's what Charlamagne is trying to do here. So this is disinformation that we're seeing that Charlamagne is doing. This is not just mistaken information. This is intentional, going after Black voters.
Rebecca, I don't even know what you were trying to imply. Okay, you repeated what myself and Mimi just said. You just didn't oversimplify it like I did, but I still don't understand how that leads into you saying I'm intentionally giving out misinformation to Black.
But he did not just say. He did not say that those. What he said was they should stop because the prices are already in effect. What she said was that the prices are not already in effect. Once they go into effect, it'll be a year. He's saying it's already in effect for a year. So why are y'all still out here shutting down the government? But she's saying they're shutting down the government because they can stop them prices from being into effect, and they want to stop it before that year comes. Two different things. But he's spinning it as if we're agreeing with each other. You're saying the same thing, but accusing me of misinformation. That's absolutely not true.
Black voters, what is the misinformation? I'm also not trying to discourage anyone from voting in midterms, even though I know we are going to have to fight to have free and fair elections in the midterms, but that's a whole other conversation. But you, Rebecca, sound like you are trying to make me out to be controlled opposition. Let the record show I don't get paid by any political party. I've never taken money from a political candidate for anything. Can Roland Martin say the same? Again, what did I say that was misinformation? Okay, everything I said is actual and factual in regards to what's in the big, beautiful bill. If you disagree with me saying Democrats should vote to reopen the government, once again, that is fair.
Now, I also want to show y'all this. Hopefully I can pull it up. Now, this was before the clip Roland Martin even responded to. This is him talking to another guest who had to tell him that what he's saying about the government shutdown is wrong. I'm going to show y'all. Wait, let me make sure that it's on there because y'all know I'll forget.
Set for the year. Democrats, we appreciate the effort, but isn't it time to reopen the government?
I mean, who's in charge of the government?
Republicans, but you still need those 8 Democrat votes to vote.
Yeah, because of the filibuster they now want to get rid of, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Having spent years saying.
And by the way, I don't care who's responsible for it. It's it's going to take a bipartisan effort. But isn't it time to reopen the government?
Yeah, of course it's time to reopen the government. But the Republicans are in charge of the government. You cannot
But
have
they still need those 8 Democratic votes.
But you cannot have a political system that always relies on only the Democratic Party being the responsible party. You just can't. America cannot survive.
See, during this time, he's pretty much saying that, oh, well, Democrats, go ahead. It's almost blaming the Democrats that the government is shut down. But then you admit that the Republicans is the one who did the big, beautiful bill, the reason why the Medicaid is increasing, that they control everything. But the Democrats should do better. That's like a black person being responsible for racism. Like, yeah, you're not the one being racist. But when somebody try to talk to you about racism, and you should try to educate them, and I have heard that before. That's why I'm using it. But it's not my responsibility because I'm not the one who's causing the harm. The person who's causing the harm needs to go and inform themselves or do better. But Charlamagne, who says he's a Democrat, is blaming the Democrats because it's like, hey, ain't it time for y'all to just stop the shutdown. So this is before him and the Roland Martin. So let me show y'all that.
It's like having toddlers, right? The Republican Party are a bunch of toddlers, and everyone else has to be the adults in the room. And that cannot continue indefinitely. And at some point, I'm glad Democrats have drawn a line, even with Schumer and Jeffries, where they're saying, you know what, it's up to Republicans to govern responsibly. It's up to Republicans to stick to their pledges.
But we know they can't.
But that's the problem.
But we know they can't. The reason I say
with the greatest respect, my friend, you're part of the problem. You can't say we know they can't, because that immediately gives Republicans a pass and puts the entire...
Did you hear what he said? And when he's telling him how the Republicans need, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. When he's telling him that, hey, this is the Republican path, they need to correct their behavior. He's like, but they can't. So, it's up to the Democrats. And he's like, no, you cannot do that. You cannot take the blame off the person who's responsible for it and put it on someone else, because now you're letting the responsible party go free. But Charlamagne argues back and forth with this guy about, well, no, let the Democrats do it.
American democracy, American government, American economy, only in the hands of one party should have to do this, right? The Republican Party are a bunch of toddlers, and everyone else has to be the adults in the room. And that cannot continue indefinitely. And at some point, I'm glad Democrats have drawn a line, even with Schumer and Jeffries, where they're saying, you know what, it's up to Republicans to govern responsibly. It's up to Republicans to stick to their pledges.
But we know they can't.
But that's the problem.
But we know they can't. The reason I say
with the greatest respect, my friend, you're part of the problem. You can't say we know they can't, because that immediately gives Republicans a pass and puts the entire American democracy, American government, American economy only in the hands of one party should have to deal with it.
I agree, but we know Republicans aren't going to do the right thing. Rent is due. They're talking about cutting SNAP benefits. People got child care to pay, light bill, card notes. We need groceries. We need the Democrats to say, okay, we know y'all not going to give us no concessions. We fought the good fight. We're going to vote to reopen the government.
The problem with that argument is, if you're worried about human suffering, the counter argument is that reopening the government on Republican terms increases human suffering.
Yes, but the election's in 2026. So now you can say Republicans are responsible for your human suffering. Republicans are the reason you got high health care. So let's change this in 2026.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but a lot of the stuff that Trump did in the big, beautiful bill, all the horrific stuff, they very smartly delayed that till after the midterms kick in.
The premiums already kicked in.
The premiums, a lot of the pain. So look, there's a strategic argument for doing what you're saying. I don't believe, I've been around long enough to know that this always ends with the Republicans benefiting from Democrats rolling over, and I'm glad to see Democrats not rolling over. Now,
I'm with you, but it's hard to see all this human suffering.
I agree, but human suffering cuts both ways.
These food banks are so, the lines of the food banks are so long.
100%.
We got government workers calling up here every day.
But the fact but the fact that you and I are talking about Democrats and not Donald Trump starving Americans and saying, he said at the weekend, he goes, a court, let's just be very clear, a court has said he must release the funds to pay for SNAP. And he said, I'm not going to do it.
That's crazy.
That should be the conversation. It's not should Democrats open the government, it's should Donald Trump follow the law.
No, I'm just saying the government should be reopened. We just know it takes a bipartisan effort to do it. Yeah. Yes, Republicans are the main issue here, but we can't act like it. 8 Democrats need to vote.
It'll be interesting to see if they get rid. He's now pushing for the filibuster nuking. It'll be interesting to see if they get rid of that filibuster because, of course, in the long run, that will help Democrats.
They had a good night last night. Reopen the government. Let's reopen the government. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you, but I'm saying it's Republicans who have to reopen the government.
It's a bipartisan effort.
Imagine being able
If you believe me saying I think Democrats have lost is wrong, I understand that too. But that's my opinion, not misinformation. You want to know why I think Democrats have already lost? I'll tell you my position. One, because the Trump administration practices authoritarian strategy. And they don't give a damn about working class people, and they damn sure don't care about the poor. Number two, Republicans are scared to death of that administration, and they have zero reason to make any concessions. They already have everything they want in the big deadly bill. Okay, massive tax cuts stay. ACA subsidy extensions didn't make it in. Deep cuts to Medicaid and social programs already in there. They have zero reason to play ball. Roland knows this, but he would rather sell y'all false hope instead of telling you the truth. Roland knows most of these Republicans have made careers running against Obamacare. They can't go back now, even if it kills them in the midterms. And a lot of people I've spoken to in government, Democrats, by the way, feel like that's why pinning a shutdown strategy around this issue was foolish to begin with. Okay, and a lot of them told me they knew they weren't going to get anything out of this except maybe the promise of a vote on the Senate floor that will ultimately fail. That's why I said last week Democrats lost. Okay, as you can see, that seems to be the case because they reached a tentative agreement yesterday that does not include an extension of the ACA subsidies. And you know who will be one of the first people out here fake dragging Democrats for YouTube views because of that? Roland Martin. Even though he knew that was going to be the obvious political outcome. Come from the beginning. Now listen, if Dems were able to get these authoritarian strategy-ass practicing Republicans to make some concessions on healthcare, I would be the first person on this radio saying I was wrong and applauding them. But I never saw it happening. That's why I said I think they lost. I'm sorry that y'all believe in MAGA more than I do. Okay? But I applaud Democrats. Okay? Drop a clues bomb for Democrats. For doing something they don't normally do, and that's fighting. They threw a Hail Mary on behalf of the American people because they know the American people are about to get their Democrats absolutely are the adults, and we have to count on Democrats to do the right thing because Republicans won't. Republicans will let this whole society collapse right under the working class and poor people's feet because they don't care. Mehdi is right when he talks about how
paychecks as well. But they also are dealing with an administration that's been slashing and burning and firing people indiscriminately as well. So all this is wrapped up. So what you do not do is you do not capitulate. You do not back down. You don't go, oh, well, you know what, hey, we're just going to go ahead and pack it in. No. You try to get as much as you can.
Well, absolutely. And this is why Wendy Williams' sidekick should not be trusted with political information. I've long had a beef with Charlamagne, so let's just stop there.
I don't know why people think calling me Wendy Williams sidekick is a diss. Thank God I got that opportunity 20 years ago. That's one of the reasons I'm here now. But please tell the good Dr. Carter that I don't shine shoes anymore. And how she got beef for me? I never met you. Don't know you, but God bless you, sincerely. But in that exchange, Roland said they understand that there are people not getting their benefits. They understand there are federal workers not getting their paychecks. You know why Roland Martin can say that so nonchalantly? Because he's not potentially facing eviction because he hasn't paid his rent for the month. He doesn't need any money this month to pay for his child care. And SNAP benefits, food. Does Roland Martin, the boo-boo built ass, look like he's who are willing to do that for federal workers or people with no SNAP benefits? All you lobbyists who be given to these Democratic campaigns, now is your time to shine for the people, baby. All the pharmaceutical lobbyists, pro-Israel lobbyists, the lobbyists that represent real estate interests. If you want Democrats to keep making this stand in regards to healthcare, dig deep into your pockets and find some relief for the constituents. Hey, tonight on my show, we are going to talk about Tyler Perry and BET. At the time, it was rumors of Tyler buying BET. And
saying this to say that, you know, we saw what happened to Bomani Jones at HBO or ESPN. High quality analysis. He couldn't stand. And then you see them throw something out, Comedy Central, Brother Leonard or Charlamagne, whatever he calls himself. That ain't high quality analysis.
my brother, I don't know your name, but you can big up the Black Star Network without throwing shots at what I was doing on Comedy Central at the time. You can love on Roland and big up what he does without slandering me, but whatever. If that's what you got to do to remain in rotation on Roland's, you.
May? I run into a sister and she said, I'm so glad to meet you. She said, I know so much about you. And I was like, really? She says, yes. She says, after the death of George Floyd.
No doubt, out of all the other people who I'm sure was on the list, Charlamagne the guy was on the list. Roland, I am not your competition, and I refuse to be responsible for how you feel about yourself. You accuse Breakfast Club of spreading misinformation because you are trying to discredit me and the platform I have helped build as if that's going to amplify what you're doing. You don't have to do that, brother. You already up. You are a 56-year-old seasoned political pundit. You have a lot of respect in the space of political
And the reason I don't give a damn about none of that, because none of that shit matters. See, I am speaking to and addressing and confronting larger issues at play that have a profound and significant impact on our community. And see, I'm absolutely unbothered if someone says, yeah. Chris Metzler, God rest his soul. Chris was a black Republican, black conservative. And Chris and I used to always laugh and talk because a lot of these Republicans, well, man, Chris, I see you go on Roland's show, and I don't understand. When you go on Roland's show, he don't yell at you. He don't interrupt you. Chris said, because I don't lie like y'all. He said, you fools come on Roland's show lying, and I ain't stupid. He said, if I come on Roland's show and I start lying, you see, we all can have opinions. But even when the context of a debate and one is offering their opinion, it needs to be a factual opinion. It needs to be one that's rooted in truth. Because the general public does not necessarily distinguish between who's a journalist and who's not. Who's a journalist and who's a DJ. Who's a journalist, who's a shock jock. Who's a journalist and who's a radio host. Who's a journalist, who's a podcaster. Who's a journalist and who has a digital show. Because see, the public just sees all media. But there are clear distinctions in terms of our roles and responsibilities.
All right, so listen up. Stay. Would
you like people to do the same thing to me? So as I was sitting here watching people say what should happen, and y'all should do this and that, I actually thought about this very issue of when I went on the Breakfast Club 3 years ago. Listen. Look, I got Republicans who don't want to come on my show because I don't let them lie. And so and that's why I get upset when I watch a lot of these shows and folks lie. So for instance, when sorry ass Bill Maher allowed that woman the other day to lie on Kamala Harris, and then he didn't correct her when she talked about, he sent all these men and women to prison for weed, and Breakfast Club. And then Bill Maher sitting there with his pothead self, don't say a word. I don't let folk lie, because when someone lies, if they're listening to this show and a lie is told and you say nothing, for me, the public goes, well, Angela and Envy and Charlotte didn't say that, so what they said must have been true. No.
Because Van Jones on the panel, he didn't say nothing.
Well, no, what he did was, he didn't correct him. And I was like, Van should said, wait a minute, what you just said is a flat-out lie. You don't let lies stand. And so that's why, and I'll tell them, I'll let you finish, but what you're not going to do is sit here and lie, and I just sit there and just nod and let you continue. Because the public needs to have enough faith in us that we have enough information, and the moment you lie, we say, wait a minute, that's not true. Or you got to prove that. You're not just going to throw something out there. And so that's why this microphone cameras are important, because we have to have so much trust in it and have care with it that we refuse to let anybody lie in our face, because the audience goes, well, that must be true. So they now run with that lie, and now it's harder to bring it back in as opposed to say, stop. What you just said is simply incorrect.
I need you to give us some facts now, because I know people will see this and they'll be like, well, Kamala Harris did lock up a whole bunch of people for weed in California.
Well, first of all, I actually brought on a brother who went through the whole record. The number of prosecutions in San Francisco declined from the previous DA when she became DA. 2, they created alternative programs for individuals who were arrested for weed. Second of all, the number of people in California went to prison, those number went down. So again, when people say, well, just what you said, she locked a whole lot of people up. How many? No, how many?
Yeah, they can never name a number.
No, but you just said she locked a lot of people. How many?
Oh, I didn't say that. I was quoting what you said.
No. You quoted folks who did not have accurate information. So even
that's why I have you.
No. So even when we say, some people say, I don't even reference lies, because what I'm now doing is I'm now weaponizing the lie.
Right.
So even
the corrected, you don't reference it?
Huh?
Even the corrected, you don't reference it?
No. It's not a question of corrected. What I'm not going to do is, some people say she locked up a lot of people. First of all, let's break that statement down. What does it even mean? What's a lot? Okay, if she locked up 5,000, well, how many were locked up before her? Was it 10,000? So 10,000 locked up before her, and then she locked up 5,000. That's a decrease.
Correct.
So again, that has to be stated. Second of all, does the Attorney General lock people up? Or the local DAs? See, so again, I don't just go, some people. I hate that phrase.
Gotcha.
because even stating that, it has to be rooted in fact. And that's why I don't simply do that any time. I force people to have to defend a statement and say, no, you need to provide evidence to back that up. And so what if somebody says, well, 5,000 was too many? Okay, but if it was 10,000 and she came in and changed the policy and then it was cut in half, do you not give credit to cutting it in half?
Correct.
Where I come from, you actually do. It's called context. And the problem we have, especially with too many of these gossip blogs and these people who are aggregators, who all they do is repeat somebody else right, they don't have any context. They provide no nuance. They provide no factual information. They don't ask the second question too often. As Kathy Hughes said, they ain't deeper than mustard on a hot dog. See, I hope y'all understood what I was laying out there. For the audience to be given something that's half correct. And again, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm just going to give y'all an example. Today, again, in that 20-minute discussion that Charlamagne had, and again, this is not tearing down. I'm just stating what happens when a basic statement is made, and maybe you're not thinking about what you're saying that's actually wrong. Charlamagne was quoting Bishop William Barber, talking about the big ugly bill, and he said when the bill passed, quote, Democrats failed to expand the tax credits. I want y'all to hear what I just said. Charlamagne said Democrats failed to expand the tax credits. Here's the problem. They didn't have the power. Republicans control the House. They control whether a bill comes to the floor. They had the votes. Republicans control the Senate. Now, some of y'all watching right now, see, I'm not explaining y'all politics. Some of y'all watching right now are going, well, I don't understand. They needed 8 Democrats ready to filibuster. Yes, because the big ugly bill was passed through a process called reconciliation. Uh-oh. The reconciliation process does not require 60 votes. The reconciliation process only requires a simple majority. Do y'all know how the Affordable Care Act got passed? Through reconciliation. Yeah. See, these are the arcane things in politics that I don't expect the average person to know. My job is to explain to the people these arcane things and make it simple for them. So there are some bills that pass the Senate by unanimous consent, meaning I move they pass it by unanimous consent. Okay, empty chamber. It's a post office, whatever. So remember that Charlie Kirk, day. That's how that thing was passed.
I don't think anything that I said was. Let me see. I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm trying to go back a little bit because because my microphone has shut down. Okay, so what I had said, what I had paused it for, the part y'all didn't hear. Okay, my microphone is back. So what I had said, what I paused it for, the part that y'all didn't hear, was that me saying that I see it now, babe. Okay, what I said was that I recently watched a video with a lady who worked on the Affordable Care Act, and what she's saying is that the Republicans are talking about how horrible the Affordable Care Act is, and of course, y'all know they've been trying to repeal it for forever, and they still don't have a medical insurance plan themselves. They still have concepts of ideas of this for healthcare, and they still haven't put nothing in place. But she said that Republicans are complaining about it and talking about it and how horrible it is. But this is pretty much their bill, because the one that the Democrats had, the Obamacare that they had, the plan they came up with would be considered Medicaid for all. But they kept crushing that down. So the Affordable Care Act that was settled on was pretty much because of the pushback that they kept getting from the Republicans, and this pretty much was a compromise. So, and like Roland just said, it got passed through when Democrats had the majority, and that's the bill that ended up getting passed through. But that ain't the bill that the Democrats even put up from the beginning. What they put up was pretty much a bill that resembled Medicaid for all. So should I say allegedly? I'm gonna say allegedly because this was a story. This was a interview that I seen, or a commentator had said. I can't remember. Yeah, I be watching too much stuff. But let's continue with Roland Martin.
The Democrats didn't vote on it. Weren't even in the chamber. Should have been one objecting. Rand Paul did that when it came to the June. See, I got to remember Juneteenth. Senator Rand Paul. The reason Juneteenth didn't become federal law when Trump was there the first time, because Senator Rand Paul objected to it being passed by unanimous consent. So you can have one or two senators in the entire chamber, and they could pass a bill by unanimous consent, and don't require all 100 showing up. That's one way you pass a bill. Another way you pass a bill, the reconciliation process, which has some rules there, which you can and cannot do. The Senate parliamentarian has the rule on it. That's literally what the big ugly bill, how it's passed. It by simple majority. The continuing resolution, that required 60 votes. Those are details. Those are nuances. But I still believe they have to be explained. So it's incorrect for Charlamagne to say, quote, Democrats failed to expand tax credits. How could they fail to expand it when they had a power? Republicans did. So should the statement have actually said the GOP cut the subsidies? The GOP cut the tax credits. See, y'all missed that. Y'all missed that.
I'm not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming.
I forgot where it could have been. It could have been. I don't know where it was. And his mother came up to me. I need y'all to hear this. His mother came up to me, and she said, "Mr. Martin, it's good to meet you. 7, 8, 9, 12, 15, 18, 25.
I've probably been on here too long. All my equipment is shutting down. It's telling me, you lady, you've been on there too long. I'm gonna finish this up, y'all. So then he says that he was talking about how this lady came up to him when he was doing the Tom Jordan morning show. He had a segment, and he said that she has a 12-year-old daughter, and the daughter won't get out the car every morning until he finished his segment. And he goes to Tom Jordan the next day, tell them the story. I have to go into my settings. Can y'all hear me? Let's see. Okay, yeah, now y'all can hear me. Okay, so but that he was saying that that was a small detail, but with something as big as the Breakfast Club, it matters what you say to people. It's matter what they're saying because it could be misinformation. Let's continue.
My family who's never taught. And she said, no, you teach. She said, I want credible, high quality, factual mediums. And that's all I got to say on this. Real quick.
Okay, so y'all, let me take that off because I ain't ready to get out here. My throat hurt. I've been talking. How long? It's been an hour and 30 minutes. That is just that is ridiculous. Y'all, I have to go. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about everything. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure that you hit all so you can see when I go live. Follow me on all social media. Yeah. My throat hurt. I've been talking to Tyler too long. My throat is killing me. Okay. Yeah, follow me on all social media. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Again, happy heavenly birthday to my mother. I will catch y'all next time. Okay. Bye.